Let the bass kick.
Hey, and we're live. Totally live. What's up, guys? All right.
Hey!
What up, what up, what up? Everybody, welcome back to the MCDG podcast. This is episode 78. It is Monday, April 27th, 2020, and we've got a great show in store for y'all today. We've got Phillip Dawson joining us live from Ogwood,
What's up?
and Dr. Hoy's listening.
I'm listening.
Yeah, man, I'm really excited. Obviously, we're getting started kind of late, and this is our first ever live episode. So I'm not gonna spend a whole lot of time jibber jabbering. We're gonna get right into the good stuff and be respectful of everybody's time. That is awesome enough to be tuning in. Dr. Hoy, by the way, while we're doing this, if you want to go ahead and pull up the feed and just kind of keep an eye on that, because you know how I get distracted.
Oh, and Facebook?
Yeah.
Yeah.
From the Music City Disc Golf page. That's where we're at tonight. Thank you to everybody for tuning in. Lots of stuff been going on with Ogwood. Lots of stuff been going on with us. Some of you guys saw recently. Cool. We are working. Everything is working. It's great. Yeah. We recently had an update video that we put out. And that was, mainly about our regular season activities, not so much about Music City Open. So, as the faithful listeners of the show know, I like to give our podcast viewers / listeners a little bit more detailed information, little sneak peeks and exclusives, if you will. So we might get into a little bit more detail about where we're at with MCO tonight. Also, there's been a lot going on at Ogwood. Phillip, you closed down temporarily due to the COVID-19 pandemic because you've got several members of your family that live there that are at higher risk for those for complications from that disease. But there's a lot of other stuff that you've had going on at Ogwood too, and we want to hear all about that. But real quick, what are the current updates from the front lines of the COVID-19 battle, Dr. Hoy?
Okay, the front lines. Let me see my video here. So, main thing are that the new phase is that there's plans to get things back into motion. And so with that comes a little bit of enhanced vigilance and surveillance on everybody's part. And so there's different plans depending on what city or county you live in about getting back to work and getting back to playing. One thing is there's widely available testing. Your work may require testing to come back. So that's, you'll be able to talk with your work, like elective surgeries, different types of surgeries are going to start getting back online. Still social distancing and hand washing. Stores are going to be that way for some time now. So it's not like everything's going to stop overnight. And they're looking at new cases, but also there's been more testing. And so the number of cases may be increasing. Some could represent asymptomatic cases because people just want to get tested or getting tested for work just in case they can return. However, we also don't know that if you've had it before, if you're protected from it. So still be smart. If you're sick, stay home. And most places are going to be screening you with questionnaires and likely the forehead thermometer, the no-touch thermometer that you get scanned. Like if you go in the hospital where I work, and probably any hospital right now, you get scanned, you get a thing, you're scanned for that day, and you have to wear a mask the whole time. So it's still a little bit different for a while. And I know as far as like the PDGA is still out, no sanctioning through May, and then NTs and majors canceled through July. And so it's still big gatherings. You can't have big gatherings. And if you're going to, even play disc golf with, metro parks like in Nashville, as far as that is still open, but you still have to be very smart about it.
Yeah.
It's not, even though I know we've been in quarantine a long time, it there could be a second wave. So be smart.
So yeah, I just went
Keep
back.
washing your
I
hands.
just went back to work kind of full time
Okay.
on Friday, and I've been at home mainly for like the better part of a month, and at Vanderbilt now, almost all the entrances to all the buildings are just locked down. And if you work there, the entrances that are open, they have a table with nurses or some kind of Vanderbilt staff there taking people's temperature. And then you get a little sticker on your shirt that says, I've been screened, and it has the date. And so anytime you go in and out, everybody's giving you the Hawkeye, trying to make sure you got your little screened sticker on your shirt. And yeah, and finally, I'm not the only person walking around wearing a mask and feeling like a weirdo. So, something you mentioned, that there could be an uptick in cases coming up. I know there's been several scenarios that have been talked about. Like, some people were suggesting that we might just go ahead and expect a pickup in cases come the fall. Some people are saying that the numbers we're getting are from testing. The more people that are getting tested in different areas and how that's affecting all the statistics and all that stuff. And then now I'm wondering, because recently we saw Governor Lee announce that we're going to be trying to open up the Davidson County economy. In his address about the whole state of Tennessee, but here in Davidson County, things are starting to open back up on May 1st. Is there a kind of any fear or worry that opening things up, now is going to cause more cases to pick up, more people to contract the disease? What's the opinion from the medical community on that?
The medical community is concerned about that because that has happened in other countries when they've opened back up. There's been a couple examples. I think Japan and South Korea. So that obviously it could, there's different seasonal variations, temperature. There's a lot of different factors, but it's concerning. But I mean, we're going to be watching this thing very closely, and I understand the economy as well, small businesses, big businesses, basically the whole town of Nashville downtown. So I can see both sides of it, but it's still going to have to be smart. And just because it's been going on a long time, the quarantine, don't get complacent now. Still good hand washing. If you're sick, stay away. Basics become harder to do once you've been in it for this long.
Yeah. Well, obviously there's still a lot that nobody knows. So, even
Yep.
the most current information we have, it seems like, is still kind of our best guess. Phillip, how's everybody at Dogwood? How's the fam? How's the squad?
Oh, we're doing great. We're all holed up. No one's left the house. I've been on vacation for 6 weeks, so we're doing good.
Good. I know you had some interlopers on the course after you had posted that it was closed. Anybody else coming out there trying to sneak attack the happiest place on earth?
No, not since then. And they were cool about it. Not really sure why that happened, but it's all good. They kept their distance and they left when I asked.
Good. So, huh?
I just have to be careful. If I didn't have 4 people living with me in the high risk category, I wouldn't even sweat it.
Yeah.
And I'm probably going to probably sometime in May. I'll probably open up to a limited amount of people. Just see how this thing plays out. A few more weeks. I don't think it's going to be anywhere as bad as we were thinking it was going to be, but it's going to be something we're going to have to deal with. Seems like every 20 years something happens that changes the way we have to live our lives, doesn't it?
It's very true. And it's funny, man. It always seems like when things kind of reach a certain level or a certain note as far as like discord or social angst, it's like we get a nice catastrophe to bring us all back together again. And this is our newest installment in that saga. Yeah, it's weird times, man. Super weird times. And Dr. Hoy, you can fact check me on this, but from what I have gathered, it seems like a lot of the medical community is kind of giving the impression, and it seems to be pretty sound logic, but this could be something, I mean, that just never goes away, and we're either going to have to be vaccinated for it every year like a bunch of other stuff, or God forbid some of these social distancing protocols that we've been living under are going to have to just be carried on in perpetuity for the foreseeable future. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I see what you're saying, and basically, they're planning for a more longer term possibilities, because there's actually a new thing on Netflix about coronavirus that just came out recently that talks about the different strains of coronavirus. Like, there's some coronaviruses we see every season, and we may, if you get exposed to coronavirus and have an illness with that, you may have antibodies for 1 to 2 years, but it can wane. And so they're looking at convalescent serum. Like, if you've had it, there's studies going on looking at that. And because Kyle Marsh had mentioned that in the chat. And then there's also looking at vaccine development. And there's also people looking at different antivirals. So a lot of ongoing things, but we are worried that it's going to be seasonal, and that's why the vaccine and using people that have recovered from it, serum, to see if we can treat with that, is promising, but it takes time.
Yeah. So, other than coronavirus stuff, Phillip, you've had some interesting things going on at Ogwood. Clearly, everybody is aware now of the situation that we've been in for some time regarding your neighbor and the zoning variance and all that stuff. And there's been all sorts of requirements that have been imposed on you as far as what you have to do out there in order to continue operating as usual. So I know that we had kind of chatted a little bit off the air about how in a lot of ways it seems, I mean, like, if you're going to have a global life-threatening pandemic, I mean, the timing worked out pretty good in a couple ways. You've had a lot of big projects that you've started and been trying to get rolling for a while out there, and this kind of gave you some time to keep boots off the ground while you got your hands dirty, if that's not too colloquialism heavy.
Right. I was fortunate to have 6 weeks of vacation at my work this year. I didn't necessarily want to take all 6 weeks at the same time, but it's worked out the way it has, and it's given me time to work on the course. And that's another reason I have the course closed right now. So it's almost impossible to work on the course when there's people playing it. So this has given me a time to do some things I've been wanting to do. I've cut down at least 100 trees, anywhere from big to small. Just doing a lot of work. Right now I'm in the process of getting the barn cleaned out. Hole 5 is not even playable right now. I've cut a lot of trees along the fence line between me and my neighbor. So if anybody tries to play hole 5 and it just goes over to the right, it's going to go over on his side.
Yeah.
So hole 5 isn't playable. So I have to keep the course closed until I get that barrier put in, which will hopefully be soon. And
this is a good time to mention, because you and I were when we were on the phone sometime in the last week. We got to talking about the fact that if there's not a person in the Nashville or greater area disc golf community, or even within just whoever's listening to the show, but a disc golfer that maybe, even if they don't do that kind of work as far as installing that type of fencing that they're calling for, I bet you that somebody that's watching this or listening to this that we knows a guy that that could probably put you in touch with the right person to get a smoking deal on that. So
actually, Tim hooked me up with somebody, gave me a really good quote.
Oh, yeah?
But I've changed my mind on what I want since then. So the price is going to change, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if anybody out there is listening and they have a good hookup on fencing, definitely hit me up, because nothing's written in stone yet. So,
well, since we're getting into it, let's get real into it. So tell everybody that's watching a little bit about what it is, kind of, if you can break it down into like a number of projects that you've got coming up, and how we could find some help from our disc golf community. So, like, things that you need to get accomplished that are going to cost money and need manpower to get accomplished. Let's talk a little bit about that so people can be putting it on their radar if they have a connection or a skill that might be useful to you.
Oh Lord, where do I start? Okay, well, number one would be the fencing, but I'm probably going to have that done professionally because it's going to be. I'm looking at a 25-foot tall barrier. I'm wanting to do it in chain link fence. Sort of like what a baseball field has,
I'm watching the chat here. Ruthie Miller says she's got softball fencing connections.
Well, there you go.
Boom. Man, why have we not been doing this live forever? No, but off the air, Phillip, I'll text you Ruthie's number, and we'll get you guys in touch with each other so we can get that figured out. Boom, perfect. One problem solved. Hopefully.
Yep. Other than that, we have the keyhole, which I have not finished. I'm still looking for some telephone poles to finish the keyhole. I think I have the tires gone. A friend of mine has a paintball course that he needs to build some obstacles with. He's going to use those tires, I believe. He just has to get a trailer out here and load them up. So hopefully I have those gone. I have to have my driveway graveled. I have to have parking graveled. I have to have the area behind my house paved for handicap parking. I have to have handicap restroom facilities with a handicap ramp. I'm going to have a new roof put on my house. And I'm thinking about having a deck put up there somewhere on half of the house, an observation deck, which would be cool.
Dude, that would be gnarly.
I'm thinking about.
Man, I went to.
Oh, it would be awesome.
One of the most memorable courses that I've ever played. I was visiting my aunt when she lived in South Carolina, and I went to a course called Grand Central Station in Central South Carolina, right next to Clemson, and that was kind of their setup. There's this flat, kind of elevated higher than the rest of the course area right when you first pull in. And they have a pavilion out there that's got an observation deck on the top of it and a spiral staircase that goes up to it. And you can stand up there and see probably close to half the holes on the course, in at least some part of them. And I always thought that would be just so sick to have something like that for a tournament. We were looking at the office building by Mill Ridge, and right over by where Hole 5 is on the course at Mill Ridge, that office building that's over there has a big, area on the upper level that's got glass windows on two corners, like a perfect observation deck for disc golf happening out there.
Well, that's not right now. That's not a priority, but that's something I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
So it'd be awesome.
That would be sick.
Right. Yeah, that's.
You mentioned the barn, dude, and I know there's more going on with the barn. More.
Oh man, my barn.
More
bad
news for
man.
2020.
Yeah. As I have cleaned my barn out, I've noticed it has a definite list to it. It's not going to last too much longer. I'm going to call a barn professional over to assess the situation and tell me if it's worth saving or if I should just try to scrap the wood and start over, or what my options are. We'll see.
Man,
I would say it has probably about 5 years left, maybe within 5 years, but something's going to have to be done.
It was heartbreaking when we lost the awning over the first part of hole 2. I remember that made that hole so unique. And I never hit anything throwing off that tee pad when we had the awning, but as soon as it went away, I started wall riding on the side of the barn.
Well, you're not the only one.
No.
It was a cool shot, definitely, man. I miss it. Maybe we can build something like that again someday.
Well, here's another thing. If you're watching the podcast or listening to it on one of your podcast apps, that's something that we are going to be looking into at Ogwood. So if you have a connection or an idea about how we can secure the structural integrity of the barn, let us know.
There you go. It'd be greatly appreciated.
Yeah. You have any kind of a rough idea of a timetable for, when you might be able to start having groups back out there?
Well, probably sometime in mid-May. And it'd have to be small groups because I'll still be working on the course. And like I said, I'll probably pull the basket on hole 5, so it'll just be 17 holes, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, probably sometime in May. I'm not sure if I'll do it by appointment only or if I'll just open it back up to everybody.
I think
Hadn't really thought about it, man.
I think it would be perfectly reasonable if, at least for the month of May, if you did decide to start having people back out there to do what Bud Hill is doing, and they're just setting up tee times. You have to contact a designated person, and only a certain window of time on a certain days are available, and you have to schedule your time, and you have to leave within 30 minutes after you finish.
Well, to be perfectly honest, Will, we're so far away from everybody. I have never had the problem of overcrowding ever.
Except when I'm around.
Maybe on the maybe on the weekends, but I mean, it's really not a problem. I just didn't want to take a chance, but it's nowhere near as bad as I was thinking it might be, thankfully. Yeah. So we'll just, as long as everybody practices social distancing and washes their hands, I think it'll be all right.
Yeah, I mean, I ask you that for 2 reasons. One, because I've been fielding a lot of questions from people that are wondering when they can get back out there and play. But also because part of our recent update video that we kind of did on our Facebook page was talking about the fact that we're suspending our organized play through the month of May. But for the bag tags in particular, we are wanting to redo those. Those are some of the events we've missed that we definitely want to reschedule and come back to. And Kim Birdie and I had talked about, and I know you and I had talked a little bit about it too, doing like a big, weekend when we can of, doing a club bag tag event and the All Good like 2.0 reboot.
Sure.
Just have a big weekend hangout. But, the more news comes out, who knows when we're going to be able to gather in large groups again and hang out like we're used to out there. It's, every time I start doing that wishful thinking, at some point I get fact checked, like, hey, facts. There's gross stuff floating around in the air.
Right. Well, when you live out in a rural area like this, you don't see it as much as you do in a city. So it's a lot easier to take it more lightly. I don't. I take it pretty seriously, but people around here, the numbers are very low. People really aren't that concerned about it. Whereas I'm sure in Nashville, some people are pretty freaked out about it.
Oh, yeah.
So,
it's weird walking down the street, man. People, it's such a weird dynamic because everybody you see, it's like you can tell they want to interact with you. Like, they desperately are craving human connection. But at the same time, they're kind of grossed out by the idea of being in close proximity with anybody. So, I mean, it's like that feeling of...
It's killing me having my course closed. I miss seeing people pull up, getting out and playing disc golf. I love that. I miss it. I want to get back to it.
Yep. Turtle, Phillip Belknap said he can't wait. He actually just pretty much quoted you verbatim in the chat.
Tell him so. I have got a box turtle. That says OGG on its shell. I swear to God, I'm gonna take a picture of it. He's hibernating right now, but when he comes out of hibernation, I'm gonna take a picture of this, and y'all are gonna freak out. It's a box turtle, and on his shell it says OGG. I swear.
That's awesome.
It's awesome.
Turtle power. Shout out to Phillip Belknap.
Right. It's about a rat named Splinter, or a rat with a splinter.
There you go, dude. What up, Miami? Miami says Ogwood equals heaven. We've had a bunch of people checking in and out. Ruthie is here. A bunch of people are saying hey. Thank you guys for tuning in. Trying to do our little conversational thing and not pay too much attention to the chat, but yeah, this is pretty cool. And I'm a noob to this techno stuff, but the way it is appearing to me, we're recording as we're streaming, so this is live and everybody can interact in the chat and everything, and I'm still going to be able to export it and post the audio version to our website and our RSS feed to all the other apps, and I'll still be able to post the video on YouTube and stuff. It may not be as flashy with all my expert post-production, but this might actually make my process a lot simpler, which is pretty cool. When we added video, my editing and production time went from 1 hour to 4. Dude, videos take forever to upload. I don't know, man, how the guys at Jomez and Central Coast and Gatekeeper, I don't know how they keep from pulling their hair out, because I set my laptop up Sunday at 11 a.m. to upload videos to Facebook and YouTube, and it uploaded for 12 hours straight before it was done. And it was only like 4 or 5 videos. It's nuts.
Wow.
New respect for the video production company, Disc Golf.
Huh?
New respect for the video production companies at Disc Golf to get it out the next day.
Oh, dude, especially for their stuff that's all clean and polished and original and good. I mean, I squeaked out like a halfway decent video of me playing the little quarantine course I designed, and I was like super proud of myself. It took a long time. So yes, shout out to the guys that are doing media in disc golf, because I mean, y'all are the real heroes. Especially right now.
Shout out to you making that video. I saw it.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. I guess we could talk about that real quick. If you've been
tell us a little bit about the what I forgot what not pandemic, or
the Quarantine Course Design Challenge.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
That's the ring I was looking for.
It was a wacky idea I had, man. I was kind of going nuts not being able to throw a drive, and wherever you're at with the whole social distancing thing, and obviously I hope everybody's being safe and following recommendations and all that stuff from the people that know what's what. But for me and my family, we kind of imposed some pretty strict social distancing protocols on our household, because my wife's parents are older and they're not in the greatest of healths, and I spend a lot of time at their house helping them with certain things, so I didn't want to take any chances. So I haven't been to a course in over a month, and I've been doing a lot of putting. I've been doing the Basement Putting League with Disc Golf Examiner. Shout out to Disc Golf Examiner. And doing all the putting challenges that have been out, and I was just like, man, I really want to throw a drive. I really want to just get behind something. And so I started scheming in my head about where I might be able to go around my house to chuck a frisbee off a mountain. And I've kind of always just looked at the area around my house and wondered what was through the trees, and my curiosity got the best of me. I started playing with Google Maps and Google Earth, and I started seeing some interesting stuff out there. It looked like there was some open spaces in between all those trees, and it looked like there was a barn out there, and I started getting excited, and so I grabbed a bag of putters and a set of loppers. Actually, your set of loppers, Dr. Hoy, which I still have. And
3 times the lopping power.
Dude, legit, they're the best loppers I've ever used. They cut anything. I literally cut like tree stuff like I was like that big around with them. No problem. You just kind of got to go.
They tamed some of the woods at Ravenwood, so
yeah. And Mill Ridge already too.
That's right.
But yeah, so I went out and walked around. There's a video of that day, the Disc Golf at Home video on our YouTube channel. I posted it in the group page and all over Facebook too. So as I was out there walking around and throwing discs, I started thinking, man, I could build a 9-hole course out here. And so I started thinking, man, that'd be a cool little video project to do, do this little random guerrilla style course and shoot a video of me playing it and post that just for everybody to make fun of me on. And so the more I started working the idea in my head, I was like, man, why not invite everybody to do that? We can make it interesting and throw some prizes up for grabs. So go to the YouTube channel. I set up a playlist for all the videos with everything you need to know. The example videos of walking around looking for holes. There's an example video of actually playing the course, and there's a video that's just the rules and the judgment requirements for the contest. So all you got to do is just find some area around your house to create a few holes, 3 to 9 to be specific, and take a video of yourself playing whatever you can come up with and put it all together. it's kind of like the idea is to give everybody a chance to dip their toes in video production, because I know a lot of people want to make some video content, maybe have a YouTube channel and stuff, and they just don't know how to do it or where to get started. So, and for me, I wanted to do video stuff for the longest time and never knew where to get started and never really bothered with it until we decided to do video for the podcast. And now it's been super interesting and I'm learning all kinds of stuff. And so it was kind of an organic process, and I figured that we could, encourage a scenario where that happened for everybody else. And also, I've talked to a lot of people that have always been interested in designing a course or doing some kind of course design thing. And I feel like this kind of all ties it all into one. Plus, you get to play disc golf at your house without going around a bunch of nasty, gross people and catching deadly world-ending viruses.
And shout out, speaking of videos, shout out to Scott Vandervoort, Pig Farmer Productions. He just recently put out the Bag Tag Championship at Shelby from 2019, just a few months back. And
you're a star of that video.
Tee off, yeah. He's...
Tell the folks where they can find it.
I mean, as a star, if Par is a star, then yes, I'm a star.
Tasha.
Hi, Will.
What's up, lady?
Just sitting here chilling.
It's good to see your face.
Yeah, trying to stay out of the world.
Yeah, you and me both. Truth be told, and I know it's probably a very selfish thing and probably offensive to somebody for me to say, but I've enjoyed the break, for sure.
Right, like a vacation, a mini vacation.
Yeah, and I don't get many of those.
No.
Well, thankfully, thankfully, we all have a job to come back to. I feel for those who have lost their job or don't have a job to go back to.
Hey, honey.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah, that is definitely unfortunate. And it's even for people that still probably have a job to come back to at some point. There's a lot of people I know, like our public relations officer, Katie Holbrook. Shout out to Katie because we love her. And she's really awesome. I feel like any word that's commonly used to describe what she does is not like fitting and kind of offensive to her, but she's like a hair artist. And she works at Scout's Barbershop, and they haven't been allowed to work. The barbershop has been trying to do some stuff to help their employees raise money, but there's a lot of people in her position, man, that it just like they don't even know when they're going to be able to go back. I think hair places they're talking about May 14th they can open by appointment only, like no walk-ins, any place that does hair.
Have to do house calls.
That would be awesome. I don't know if that's going to be allowed. I mean, that's the whole thing is like, I know a lot of these businesses were trying to get creative and come up with ways to give their employees some work. And the government was like actually limiting what they were allowed to do, by what is essential and what's not. So it was like this chain of government says, no, you can't do this. And then the business tells their employees, no, you can't do this. And it's just really unfortunate. There's
change demand.
Yeah, a lot of what they call intimate care, tattoo, barbershop, hair salon, massage, all those things, because you're so close. In the phase, there's 1 through 4 of like Metro Nashville opening back up, and those places are going to be later to open based on if the others are doing okay with their opening.
Yeah. And I think even restaurants, they said restaurants can open, but only at half capacity or something.
Yeah, 50% at first, and no bar, like the bar is closed and no live music. So it's kind of Nashville's opening back up, starting to open it back up. I mean, that's a huge part of Nashville. So it's going to be interesting to see what the next steps are and how getting back to everything. And I mean, it's going to be changed for a while, like how people act in public and who's wearing a mask and who's not, and just it's going to be different for a little while.
Yep. But yeah, so just to wrap up information on the course design challenge, we are giving out prizes for this. So basically, you go out, you take a video. You're going to have to watch the rules video to get all the nitty gritty of everything, but you submit your video by uploading it or linking to it on the MCDG Podcast Facebook group. And then we're going to judge based on creativity and use of space, challenge and difficulty of the course, who has the most fun, and I think there's one more that I'm not remembering off the top of my head. But the winning video will get a t-shirt, posters, disc golf pin, and $50 credit to dynamicdisc.com. So go to the MCDG Podcast Facebook group and get informed on how to do it, and start scouting your holes and making your videos. And let's have some fun with that. I think it's a cool idea. Marcus told me it was a cool idea, so I believe Marcus.
Boom.
I didn't just fly into this all willy-nilly. I did my research. I checked with the experts. But no, I mean, it was just a thing where there was all this cool stuff going on, where people could get online and do stuff from home and still be scratching their disc golf itch. And I really felt like we should be a part of that momentum, and be offering something of that nature to the members of our club, the members of our disc golf community. So I genuinely hope that it's helpful to people, and I hope everybody has a good time with it. I had a really good time learning how to shoot the video and edit it, and I actually got to go out and play disc golf. So it was a win-win for me. But yeah, enough about that. You go where the information is, go check it out, watch the videos, and show us what you got. What else is going on with you, Dr. Hoy? Before I jump into I don't want to cut straight to the chase.
I think one of those on the same topic. We're trying to be safe with disc golf and other things as well, but getting outside, physically leaving the house. There have been some people that maybe have left to go to the store, but getting some, rays and just kind of, even if it's walking outside for 5 or 10 minutes down your street, I think is very important, because we've had a lot of, a pediatric hospital, we've had a lot of teenagers, but depression and anxiety have been increased, obviously, in this quarantine. I mean, they're always there, but having somebody call somebody they haven't called in a while, check in with family, do a Zoom video, even if it's just for 5 minutes, to say hey to one of your family members. I think it's important to remain connected, because I know it's a big part of what we're seeing in some patients, because obviously we're dealing with COVID-19, but also depression from pediatric patients with that. But it's also being affected in the adult population. So if you need to talk to somebody, or the stress and anxiety is getting too much, check in with your people, check in with somebody you haven't checked in with for a while. And so I think that's important right now, because people have been isolated for a while, and it's been a little bit difficult for a lot of people. I mean, everybody's feeling it, not just people that normally have depression, anxiety, but some of those people may be feeling it a little bit more. So.
Yeah, and let's just go ahead and come out and say, truthfully, you guys, when everybody's pushed to the edge like this emotionally and we're all raw, obviously Facebook tells a tale of human tendency to seek hostility and disagreement. And when emotions are heightened in a time like this, that even gets to be more and more prevalent. And so I think there is some undertones of some certain people there are subconscious things that we do that we don't intend to, that are character flaws that a reasonable and rational person tries to work on to become a better person over time. And one of those things that's just a tendency is, like, when you're suffering, it's almost hard to see, or painful to see, people who you perceive not to be suffering. And so we get into this pattern where we're kind of judging everybody else's level of inconvenience or suffering because of this whole thing. And what you said is very important. We have to remember that we all are in the middle of this, and we all have to sit in it and live with it and figure out how to make it through. So every time I get on a video for quite a while, I'm at least at one point I'm going to be stressing the fact that we need to actively and intentionally be remembering and reminding ourselves and each other who we are as a family, as a community of disc golfers, and what that means and what we stand for. Because one of the big things, if not the biggest thing, that always made me, cling a hold of disc golf was the sense of community and family. And when things get crazy, people do and say crazy things, man. And I really hope that at the end of the day that everybody is just kind of realizing what's important because of the spotlight that this is kind of shown on everything. So I'll get off my little emo soapbox on that, but
there's some videos, like obviously there's been a lot of memes and videos, but one that I've been watching recently is the Wind of God remix.
Yes, yes.
I mean, please share memes and videos, and it's laugh a little bit, share something funny with somebody, or
when I saw that, Mac Farmer had shared it, and I saw it, and I think I was at work when I watched it, and I immediately jumped up and yelled out to all the good old boys in the shop, "This is the best thing the internet has ever done."
Is that the one with Kenneth Copeland?
Yes, where he's doing the thing. I blow.
Yeah, that's great.
It's the greatest thing ever, man.
He's very passionate.
Yeah, but let's all get along, man, and be nicer to each other. Whoa, my camera's all doing super bouncy things.
You're getting some cool tracers there, Will.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so another thing that I mentioned at the beginning of the episode that I promised our listeners that I would do for them, or at least try to do for them in this episode, was divulge a little bit more detailed information about where we're at with the Music City Open. Because for those of you that watched the live updates video that we did a couple days ago, that was just me sitting on my couch running my mouth. I kind of skipped over the Music City Open a little bit and kind of focused more on our other events, the bag tags, C-tiers, and stuff like that. A couple things I forgot to mention in that video. We have done some raffles and auctioning of stuff for Tennessee School for the Blind, which we had intended on having a fundraiser event for them in May, and that got pushed back. I would love to reschedule that. I have no idea when we'll be able to, just from the point of view of the school. I do know that their prom was canceled, so that was one of the things that we were raising money for. The other thing in particular was their senior trip, which I assume will still happen at some point and probably just get postponed to a later date. So we have raised, I think, $600 for Tennessee School for the Blind. Thank you to
That's correct.
Yeah, thank you to everybody that pitched in on all that stuff. And those of you that have won raffle prizes and all that stuff, I do have all your names, and your packs are separated and stuff. I've got a lot of them in my storage unit. Now as we're getting close to May and things are going to be kind of easing up a little bit, I do plan on going and getting that stuff out of my storage unit and starting to make plans to get that out to everybody. So starting on May 1st, if you guys are local and you've won a raffle prize, reach out to me in direct message or something, and we'll make arrangements to do like a no contact pickup for you guys. I know Ruthie Miller is one of those. Cool.
Or you may be getting,
that was Ruthie texting me.
Depending where it is.
Huh? What'd you say, Dr. Hoy?
Mail. I was saying we may need to send some things through the mail.
Yes, make arrangements to ship out some things to people that are not local.
Yeah.
So I do have those names, and I will be reaching out to you guys to get addresses. I haven't been anywhere to even ship anything or to get boxes or anything like that. So really my excursions from the house over the last month have been strictly just for supplies or to go to work if they call me in, or to go over to my in-laws' house and help them with something. So we haven't forgotten about you. I've got your names written down, and we'll get that stuff to you. And thank you for being a part of raising that money for them. They're grateful for it, and they're really excited about our partnership. And we will be going back and doing an after-school program with them as soon as all this stuff calms down and when they're back in session, I guess. So that was one thing I left out. The other thing that I forgot to mention, No, I think that might have been it. It was that and the fundraiser event that I was gonna. I forgot to mention that in the updates video. So we will try to reschedule that whenever we can. We've still got a bunch of prizes for it, so that will be going on. But the Music City Open. So we have gotten to the point now where we've lost a significant portion of our prime fundraising and planning and preparation time. And there's so much at play here. Another big thing is we have lost our fundraising engine has been kneecapped because of COVID-19. All the businesses that we were targeting for sponsorships and fundraising and all that stuff, they've all taken huge hits from this, and including our title sponsor, Dynamic Disc. I almost said tonsil sponsor. But yeah, so obviously, we can't put the burden of that needed money on our title sponsor, who's already committed to doing a lot for us, and now holding to that commitment is even more impressive because of the circumstances that even they are in. Not a lot of disc golf companies have been shipping lately, so everybody's trying to make it through. All that being said, we're not able to get out to Mill Ridge and have work days. There's just been a lot of stuff at play. So in my mind, we're kind of getting to a point where if we're going to plan to have a Music City Open, we need to change our plans to accommodate for these new circumstances, or save everybody some money and some energy and some time and just postpone it. Which I don't want to do. That's the last thing that I would ever want to do, especially after all that we've gone through to get this national tour event. We lost Ravenwood after we signed the contract with the PDGA. We've been shedding blood, sweat, and tears out at Mill Ridge trying to get that ready. We've had arguments about how it's got to be run, and it's just one of those things where it's like, if we continue to try and hang on to what we initially wanted it to be, at some point we're going to find ourselves in a position where we can't give people the experience that they paid for, and we can't give them their money back either. And that's a scenario that a lot of TDs and event staffs found themselves in when this all started, and not by any fault of their own. You have to spend a certain amount of money within a certain amount of time out from the event. And if you get if the rug's pulled out from underneath you at the last minute, you're left holding the bag and there's not much to do. And I don't want to do that for two reasons. One, because we're responsible for our club's money. The members of our disc golf community, participate in our events and everything we do throughout the year so that we can have the funds to do more cool stuff, run cool events, make improvements to our courses, put in new courses and stuff like that. So I want to be a good steward of your money, and I don't want to commit a bunch of it to something that is tenuous and not certain. So that's one consideration. I also I don't want anybody to feel like I don't know, like they got a lackluster MCO. I don't want to go through all of this work and pain and labor and then get to a point where it was all for something that is not anything like what we set out to accomplish. So the Music City Open will go on if I have anything to say about it. As long as Metro government or government of any sort doesn't tell us we cannot do it, we can do things like what we did at the test event at Mill Ridge, social distancing protocols, everything online, tee times, or, that kind of thing. All of that can be implemented, but it's like, the grand nature of it, all the galleries and the spectators and the ancillary activities, all the little other mini tournaments and gatherings and get-togethers and stuff that happen around the Music City Open and would even be more expansive as an NT. All of that stuff kind of has to go out the window. For right now, we have no way to suspect that we're going to be allowed to gather in large groups again come September. We're going to be probably through most of July before, businesses are all operating at full capacity and stuff. So just so much is up in the air, and I don't want to put the repercussions of that on any of our players, any of our club members, or anybody that's planning on coming here from out of town to be a part of the MCO experience. So we started having a conversation. We had a virtual board meeting and to kind of weighed our options. So there are two kind of scenarios available to us right now. One, we scale it back and maybe we push back the NT portion. Maybe we just completely change gears in all ways, and that includes entry fees and partial refunds and whatever we got to do to just scale down the Music City Open to make it into something that everybody can participate in, even in a scenario that's kind of close to worst case possible, where we can't gather in any way. The other option, and I've been having a lot of conversations with people over the last couple weeks. I've spoken to Derek at DD. By the way, shout out to Derek Savory, who is you're an angel of a man, even without your beard. Some of you guys were watching the test videos I was airing from the podcast group, and I'm a bumbling idiot, and Derek came to my rescue. I've been joshing around with him and EMAC on their disc golf auctions lately, and started asking him how they were doing it when I started thinking about streaming. So he kind of saved our bacon tonight, and that's why we started so late. But yeah, so I talked to Derek, I talked to Sean Sinclair and Mike Downs at the PDGA. I've been talking to people on the medical committee at the PDGA. I've been talking to a bunch of people trying to figure out what the projections are, what this all looks like. And so basically where we're at right now is I'm waiting on a call back from somebody at the PDGA, certain somebody. I don't want to put the weight in anybody's lap for you guys to go bug them about it, but he's having conversations on our behalf. We're trying to figure out a way that we can maybe work collaboratively with the other tournament directors of the big NTE series, that are still going on, trying to see if we can maybe make something cool, like as cool as we possibly can under crappy circumstances. So that's a conversation that just takes time. There's a lot of people that need to be involved in it, and it's moving forward. So I'm not going to pull the trigger on anything just yet. We are going to leave the registration pages open for Music City Open. Obviously, the information that's required by the registration pages, we will be able to contact you if we end up needing to change plans. And Dr. Hoy, you can assure the people that I am correct, that we are on solid financial footing, and we are definitely in a position to give back full refunds if circumstances should require us to do so.
Yes, we were. Basically, it was time. When the MCO NT is set to take place in September, we had not had yet purchased a significant amount of the competitor pack and other things like that. So we are still liquid enough that we can get people partial refunds or whatever we need to do to make an appropriate response, an appropriate MCO.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and obviously having to change it in any way is going to be a big bummer, but the main priority, and I always say this, but I think it's very true. I think any TD that's worth their salt, anybody that takes this seriously, our first priority is to make sure everybody's safe and everybody gets what they paid for. And that's, if you're not doing those two things, it doesn't matter what else you're doing well. So
one of the other tougher things is people may have spent that money, a significant amount of money, and they need that money back.
Right.
Like they need to, drop out. So if anybody has any issues like that, we can work that out. But, people are not going to want to spend a significant entry fee. And
Yep.
So I know we're also at other events looking at ways of discounting that to just try to get back out there. I mean, the purses may be a little bit different, but those are all details we're still working out.
Yeah. So more details on MCO will be forthcoming as they are available. Like I said, I'm just waiting on some callbacks. I've told everybody involved that I'm not going to rush it. I do, and what I told Mike Downs and other people at the PDGA that I did want to give you guys some sort of a somewhat definitive projection of what everything looks like by around the beginning of May. And I'm still going to push for that as much as I can. But as I told everybody else that's involved in the conversation, I don't want to put a deadline on this because I think if everybody that's involved with these big events that are going to be left towards the end of the year, if we can put our heads together and come up with the best possible solution, then we should take whatever time is necessary for us to reach that solution. And obviously, I'm not going to let it get too out of hand where you guys are sitting around kind of getting nervous about your money or your plans that you got to make to travel and stuff. I want to keep you up to speed as much as we possibly can. And as soon as, I will continue to give you guys more updates and information as it becomes available. For sure. Ferda. Facts. Facts. Bars. Let me check in on the feed real quick. Oh, good job, Dr. Hoy. Working the chat. Yes, Ruthie, Mitch Baker did win some prizes. I think Ruthie and Mitch are doing some tradesies on some stuff because I know he ended up winning a jade that she really had her eye on. Yep, technology win. It is indeed all good at Ogwood. Turtle can't wait to get back out here, Mrs. Ogwood and Nashville. Yep, I think we're caught up on anything in the chat. We're at a point now where if you guys have any last-minute questions for Phillip or for us, but before we start winding it down, go ahead and get those in the chat, and we will address those as much as possible. And yes, it is a place for jokes, so feel free to provide us with some comic relief if you feel so inclined. Phillip, Tasha.
Yes.
Tasha, what's been going on with you, girl? I haven't gotten to talk to you in ages.
I was supposed to return back to work right whenever this COVID-19 was diagnosed for everything to shut down. So I have to file proper paperwork to stay out of work for another year with no pay, but as long as I keep my insurance. So hopefully all this will be up and gone within a year.
Yeah.
To return back to work 30 days, and then go back out on disability. Other than that, cleaning house, getting some stuff cleaned out, getting the barn cleaned out.
She's been helping me.
Slowly working hard.
Well,
busy,
you have
busy.
You have the patience of a saint, Tasha, if you've been helping Phillip work on anything.
Only an increment of 10 minutes. No.
There you go. Got to take a breather. Union mandated break from the drama.
Hell, I don't work that long.
No. I go visit my oxygen bar. No.
There you go. Yeah.
But yeah, no. Trying to get Trent doing stuff online for school is kind of tiring.
Yeah, he had a birthday party. His birthday was on the
20th.
The 20th. March 20th. So we had to cancel his birthday party. He was all bummed out.
That's another one we'll have to make up for.
Yeah, right. I told him, Trent, you'll have more birthday parties.
We're gonna have a lot to make up for.
Yeah. Have you guys seen these drive-by birthday parties that's been going on?
Yeah, I saw that the other day. It's pretty cool.
Did you see it on TV or did you see it in person?
Yeah, I've seen those in the Zoom birthday parties.
Yeah, Zoom.
I saw it on Facebook.
Okay. Yeah, I had seen it on Facebook. It's much different to see it happen in real life. I've been taking my practice basket over to the church by my house and using their parking lot area as like practice space because there's some upshot room and there's plenty of different places I can set the basket and have different kind of putting angles. So I've been spending a lot of time at this church. And it seems like it's become like a recreation area for our neighborhood, and people are walking their dogs over there and coming over there and doing plyoesthetics in the parking lot and interesting stuff. So I've not been, I'm not exactly surprised if anybody shows up. But the other day I was putting and I turned around from picking up my disc and this car pulled in. This older guy gets out of the car and just stands there by himself with this grin on his face, all alone in the parking lot, not even facing me or looking my way. I was starting to weird me out because he was there for like 10 minutes by himself. And then another car pulls in. And then 3 more cars pull in. Pretty soon, there's like 15 cars in this parking lot. And they're all like, it's all soccer moms and little kids. And this one older guy. And they're all getting out in the parking lot and tying ribbons and balloons on their side view mirrors and their racks and all this stuff. And it didn't occur to me that was what I was like, are these people legit about to have a birthday party in this parking lot? Like just descending on this this like empty parking lot from all directions. And I was just like kind of watching what was going on. And then I turned my back and I was shooting some putts and I went and gathered up my discs and I turned around and the first car that had pulled in was pulling out and everybody else was already gone. And I was totally baffled by what had just happened. And I texted my wife about it. And she was like, oh, it's probably one of those drive-by birthday parties. They were just meeting up and getting together. Man, you see some people staging one of those things. It can be confusing if you don't know what's going on.
Wow. So no more renting awnings. What's the word I'm thinking of?
Bouncy houses.
Yeah.
Well, renting to go to parks.
Yeah, you can't. That's one of the things that Metro did.
Pavilions.
Yeah, the pavilion.
Yeah, the pavilions. Yeah, you can't rent those now. I mean, like they've closed them down. You're not even. I think they might even have them like roped off or caution taped off or something.
So just pick a parking lot and have a party and then leave.
Hey, would you like to hear a funny disc golf story that happened to me about 20 some odd years ago at Seven Oaks?
Yes.
Definitely.
Okay, this was a Monday following Easter. Okay, this is on a Monday right after Easter. Me and a couple of friends are playing Seven Oaks, and we get to hole 14. And back then, there was only one tee pad way up there at the top. And so we all tee off, and as we're walking down the fairway, we start noticing plastic eggs, and they have little pieces of candy inside of them. There's no kids anywhere. And like I said, this is the Monday after Easter. So we figured that these are eggs have been left over that the kids didn't find, right? So as we're going on down the fairway, we keep finding more and more eggs. And by this time, there's so many eggs, we're throwing them at each other. You know, we're eating all the candy and throwing the eggs at each other. And the fairway is just littered with plastic eggshells. And then we get down there to the parking lot, and we start hearing car doors slam, and then we start hearing kids yelling, and we got the hell out of there. So there's some really pissed off parents that day, and some very disappointed kids.
Oh man!
But, hey, it was Monday after Easter. You know,
Man, maybe that's where all this run of bad luck you've been having came from. You built up some bad karma eating all them kids' Easter eggs.
Bad karma, not me, bro. Good, nothing but good karma here.
Totally playing. I'm not gonna put that evil on you, Ricky Bobby. Cool. Well, any final words, guys? It's been a blast talking to you guys. This is the first time I've seen my friends in quite a while. We took a couple weeks off from the podcast, even.
Yeah.
I just want everybody to know.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I just want everybody to know that as soon as we get open, I want everybody to feel welcome to come out to Ogwood. I don't care who you are, what kind of disease you have. Just come on out, and we'll all have fun.
Amen, brother.
Let the sunshine shine at Ogland.
Yeah, that's the other bad thing is we're missing all the good weather.
Oh, it's beautiful out here too, man. I know Bud Hill's been posting pictures of his course.
Yeah.
And he feels like I do. It's a shame to have a course and it's looking so good, especially this time of year, and there's nobody to enjoy it.
All the flowers are blooming and the sun is shining and the air ain't 1,000,000 degrees and wet.
Well, it's wet.
It's a crying shame. Crying shame, I tell you what. Dr. Hoy, you were about to say something?
I was about to say I've discovered some candy that I used to eat that I have not eaten in a while. For some reason, I got some Warheads the other day.
Nice.
And I was just wondering if anyone else has gone back in time with. I feel like there's more snack candies now, and I was just curious if anyone else had.
I went back in time with your candy bowl that you brought to the last bag tag that had those strawberries in it. Those like strawberry candies that have the wrapper that looks like a strawberry.
Filling strawberry.
Yeah, that little gooey stuff in the middle of them. They're probably
sticks to your teeth.
They're probably the grossest thing ever, but I just have like nostalgia from my childhood attached to them.
Shout out to Dollar Tree.
Yeah, for real. For real. Dollar Tree's where it's at. I don't know. I feel like everybody's kind of loyal to one dollar store or another. Like you got your Dollar Tree crowd and your Dollar General crowd, and what is the other one?
Walmart crowd, Kroger crowd,
Yeah, like
online
those,
shopping crowd now.
Family Dollar. That was the other one. Yeah. Yeah, everything's online now. Unless you want toilet paper, then you got to drive 50 miles away and go to a Dollar General.
Go to Big Lots.
Right.
Shout out to Cedric Finch. He dropped off 3 cases of industrial roll toilet paper right before all this went down. So I've been fine on toilet paper, brother.
We tend to stay pretty stocked up on it. We've got a Sam's card, so like we go to Sam's and stock up for us and for her parents, and we typically have several cases of paper towels and toilet papers on deck. But it's starting to get down to the bottom of the barrel. and the paper product aisles at the stores are still disturbingly empty.
Yeah.
Like you would think that the people would have caught on by now that it's, I don't know.
Gotta use flash drive.
All right.
Go outside and see the rain.
Well, let's not drag it out and ruin a beautiful thing. It's been a lot of fun talking to y'all, and thank you for being with us on our first live episode. I can no longer hide all of my many mistakes and shortcomings. But
no, Phillip and Tosh, it's been good seeing y'all.
Yeah. Good to see you too.
You too, man. Hope to see you soon.
Definitely.
Yes, we will be in touch. And Phillip, when you start doing tea times or anything changes out there, let me know and we'll get you on the show again. Kind of let everybody know what's going on.
And I'll definitely put it on Facebook, and y'all help me get the word out.
Yeah, for sure. So thank you guys for tuning in live, and this will still be available on the podcast apps and on YouTube. So get to it when you can, share it with your friends, like, rate, review, and don't forget to subscribe. Subscribed? Subscribe. Present tense, singular, one time, subscribe. Because if you subscribe again, then you had to unsubscribe, and we don't want you to do that. But on that note, we love y'all, and we will catch you on the flip for episode 79. We are getting close to 100. We're going to have to do something special.
Party
at Ogwood.
There you go.
Party at Ogwood, where it's all good. All right. Thank you guys for helping me out with this, because I was terrified about going live, and just seeing your beautiful faces made me feel much better. And
put a smile on your face. You're welcome, Will.
Yeah, this was fun. This is a good episode. And we're right just over an hour, so it's a good time to end it. Yep. Stay tuned, guys. We'll catch you hopefully next week.
Peace.
Let the bass kick.